said that the last shout, the subject of cancer is different from other diseases. There is a political and financial game going on. Can you give more insight on this topic?
Every disease has a purpose, has a value in it. It's hard for those who are going through it to recognize it, but it serves a purpose, sometimes very personal and sometimes more global, more having to do with mass consciousness. I made a comment recently about cancer and said that to a degree, cancer has become a huge business, huge business. So there are a lot of people that are invested in it. Now, that's not to say that they're preventing the cure for cancer, but they like, you're gonna resonate with this, they like the pursuit of the cure of cancer. Not the money, not the politics even, they like the pursuit. So what happens when they reach the goal, when they reach the end of the path? There's no more fun and games in the pursuit. You've achieved your dreams. Now what? Suddenly there's no passion anymore. Suddenly it's like, now what do I do with myself? Go out and find another disease, or help create another disease so you can get at it. Does that sound a little familiar to some of you? Spiritual path. You've spent so long searching on your journey. You're so invested in it. What happens if you realize it? What happens if there's no more searching anymore? What would you do with your life? You say play, but it's like cancer itself. It's the whole search, the mission. It brings up human passion. We're on a mission to, you wear pink, or you have marathons, or you bake pies, or whatever you do. There is an entire investment, and it's not bad. It's not sinister. Will it find a solution to cancer, a cure to cancer? I'm going to say something, perhaps going out on, there's not even a limb to go out on. It's not even going that good. There's already a cure. There's absolutely already a cure to, I would say maybe about 70 to 75% of the known cancers, and then the other ones are coming quickly after that. Nobody's really hiding it, but nobody's really seeing it. But it's in clear, plain daylight, as you would say. Nobody wants to see it right now because cancer is still serving a purpose. The origins of cancer basically are, I'm oversimplifying it, by hate, particularly self-loathing, self-abuse, and that causes the cancer cells, or the human cells, to not communicate properly anymore. Every cell in your body is connected to an aniotron, or the communication network, and right now there are trillions of communications, impulses happening every second in your body. Fortunately, you don't hear all these because it would drive you crazy. But they're all communicating. They're all in a type of harmony. But when one doesn't love themselves, when they hate themselves actually, then the communication system starts to erode. A few cells here, a few cells there, out of network. And suddenly those cells are no longer creating the proper patterns for the biology. Suddenly those cells are off doing their own thing. And what do cells do when they're off doing their own thing? They keep recreating themselves. They keep making new images of themselves without understanding really why. But what they're trying to do is saying, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I'm going to keep recreating myself. I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over to try to understand who I am. And the cells do that, but you do that also. So they keep recreating the same patterns, and pretty soon you have what's called cancer. It's a cell gone errant, out of communication, out of network, and now just trying to figure itself out. It doesn't know how to get beyond just recreating itself. with all of its crap and all of its garbage and everything else. And suddenly it proliferates in the body, and it's a tumor. It spreads. It's trying to figure itself out. What's wrong with me? But because it now is in a closed loop sensory system, it doesn't know how to answer its own question. It doesn't know how to get out of its reproductive cycle of itself. It keeps asking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Every time it does, another errant cell is created. Well, if it sounds familiar, if that pattern sounds familiar, that's exactly what most humans do. They're in a closed loop. They haven't stopped to really listen to the answer. When that cell says, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? It's not stopping to listen because it's ingrained in its own patterns. But if one would listen, stop for a moment, and actually listen for the answer would come back, nothing at all. Nothing at all. And the answer would come back and say, stop. Stop your scurrying around. Let yourself expand beyond your known basis, your known consciousness, to see who you really are. But most of the cells aren't going to do that. They're going to doubt themselves because they're loathing, they're hate cells. They're going to not do that, and they're going to continue right back into what they were doing, keep reproducing themselves, making more cancer cells. But every once in a while, as if almost by some miracle, one of them says, okay, I had nothing to lose. Okay, I'll step out of the old patterns, step out on a limb. I'll listen. I'll be aware. And then they get it. And they get it. And that sets up a whole dynamic now for changing, for bringing down the old pattern of reproducing yourself again and again and again, lifetime after lifetime, family after family, old patterns after old patterns, whether it's a cell in the body or whether it's a human being. It just takes a few to stop for a moment. It changes everything.